James Russell Lowell said, "Fate loves the fearless." Welcome to McBain Moments. Fate loves the fearless. It's almost an irony. It basically means that if you're willing to take the chance, you are more likely to be successful than if you're careful. And if you look historically, this is actually very true. People who have taken chances have often found themselves to be far more successful than those who hedge, who constantly protect themselves against loss. And those who take the risks do lose, and they often lose. But because they constantly take the risk, when they do win, it's a big win. And it does come down to almost a lottery mentality, and you don't want to have a lottery mentality. You definitely want to know what risks you're taking when you take them. But I think that it's a Cardonism. It's a Grant Cardonism. When things are getting bad, you attack. And Charles de Gaulle was the original person who used this in, I think it was World War I. You know, things were hopeless, and he says, the situation's excellent, I attack. Because he was aggressive, he was able to break through. Aggressive in a time when people expected him to be defensive. He was able to break through. He saw the opportunity that no others saw. This works in all walks of life. That doesn't mean you're recklessly aggressive. But no matter what the situation is, no matter how bad things look, always advance. Never retreat. In the SCA, there's an Atlantean song called Atlantean Steel, and the term that in the part one of the verses goes, "Hold or advance, but never retreat." The problem with backing off, the problem with retreating, with just accepting, is it shows that you didn't have the fortitude to keep moving forward. You will allow yourself to settle. And I'm not talking about having an ambition that is, quote-unquote, less aggressive than the next person. That's different. You know, for you, success might be defined entirely differently than the person to your left or right. What I'm talking about is, if once you define a goal for yourself, you can't give up the goal unless it becomes absolutely physically or legally impossible for you to do. So yeah, if you want to build a drug cartel, give up on that one. I'm sorry, there's a lot of legal issues with doing that. But if you want to build a company, if your goal is to build a company, then every step of your day, every day of your year should be focused on proceeding to achieving that goal. If you want to become a teacher, every step of your day should be focused on figuring out how to achieve that goal. And that doesn't mean that there isn't minutia and mundanity to deal with. You still have to clean your room. You still have to do your dishes. But you never lose sight of that end goal. And when things look like they're getting bad, push forward. Push forward through the worst of times. Because things like that are what get you noticed. When I moved from grocery to banking, I was working 70 hours a week. And the reason I was picked up by the bank at their lowest level was because they saw I was willing to work 33 hours straight. There's no two ways about it. And my first year in banking was horrible. When you are one of two tellers on a line designed for 5, and you're working 6 days a week, it was a rough year. But I kept pushing forward. I had a goal. And the only time I reevaluated that goal was when I discovered that the original goal I set for myself was not the type of work I thought it was. Now that's different from retreating. I saw that my goal to become a financial advisor, something that if I had no obligations, I might take the risk on. But the type of work it was not what I thought it was. See, I thought it was advising on all aspects of finance, but really it was more just dealing with the markets. What I really wanted to do was wealth banking. What I thought was financial advising was actually wealth banking. And I'm not there yet. I don't work for a bank right now. But because I found it wasn't the goal was to do a certain type of job. The position I thought it was not. So that's a realignment. And you're going to find yourself doing that throughout your career. And right now I'm realigned into a job that I had no intention of ever doing. But the experience I learned in this job will help me push forward into that eventual goal. And so I'm glad I took the 2.5 years that I have done so far. And it might be another 2 years before I get back on track to where I originally planned on going. But I haven't lost sight of the goal. You can't lose sight of the goal. Even when things are bad, even when you have to take a step back due to circumstance, never allow it to be a retreat. Allow it to be a realignment. The path I was on to get to my goal didn't work. I had to take a side route that gets me around the obstacle. Fate loves the fearless. Be fearless. Go after what your best destiny is. This has been a McBain moment.